Hey, this is Gray here with a little short video about how to sleep better. So I've had lots and lots of conversations in the past week or two with people who are struggling to sleep. So I thought this little video could just summarize everything so that you can put this into practice tonight so that you can get more effective sleep, helping you to drift off quicker and waking up refreshed. Now, sleep, it can be quite complicated. So the more we can understand about it, the more you can manage it and take back control. And that's what this video really is all about. It's helping you understand the different phases of sleep, how you can drift off quicker, stay asleep, and then wake up feeling more refreshed. So the basics, the things we need to know is that sleep comes in 90-minute waves. There are 3 stages in each of those 90 minutes. So you have light sleep, deep sleep, and that's what's called REM sleep, or rapid eye movement. So there are 3 phases that we go through that make up that 90 minutes. We need plenty of a hormone called melatonin. That is our sleep hormone. Without that, our bodies just can't switch off. So melatonin is really the signal from your brain to your body that it's time to rest, recover, and switch off. So those are the things that we're going to keep reinforcing throughout this video, but so you need to keep that at the forefront of your mind as we go on through. Now you also need to know and to remember that there are 5 brain states that we can be in at any point during the daytime. So each of these brain states is like a radio station. They're all going to give you different qualities and different characteristics according to what state you're in and what you're trying to achieve. So alpha state is when your brain is really switched on. It's when you're feeling that you're in the flow, everything feels easy, and you're just in the zone. Gamma state is a place you can be in when you need to be problem solving. Your brain is very, very creative in this place. Again, very, very active. Beta state is our kind of energy saving eco state. It's where we just run patterns. It's the state you're in when you're driving to work and you get there half an hour later and you have no recollection of the journey. You just run the same pattern. When you get home, you go through the same routine. You put your shoes in the same place, your coat in the same place, and then before you know it, you've got your head in the fridge. It's because you're in this what's known as beta state. It's just your brain saving energy and just doing what it knows, and it can do it on autopilot. Theta state is the kind of hypnosis state. It's where you're highly suggestible and your brain is really open to learning. And then for us, with this video today specifically, we need to know about delta state. Delta is our sleep state. It's when your brain has this really low, gentle amount of activity that just allows your body to slow down and rest. So you can clearly see here, hopefully, that a lot of us will have problems sleeping when we want to be in delta, but we're more than likely either problem solving and we're in that gamma state and we're running through, oh, I wish I'd done this, I need to do this, or more likely we're in beta state. Your brain is just running the same pattern, you're running loops, you're repeating the same story, and it's just a pattern that's going around and around and around. So the strategy we need to employ is really how we can go from beta state into delta state. So we're switching what your brain is doing. Okay, those are the basics that I need you to understand and to bear in mind throughout this. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the sleep cycles. So, like I say, we have 3 stages. We have light sleep, REM sleep, and then deep sleep. And our brain goes through each cycle in 90-minute periods. So as you can see here, the peaks at the top there, they're going to be an hour and a half apart, as will the troughs at the bottom. The more complete cycles you get, the better you feel. So you want to accumulate at least 4 of those 90-minute sleep cycles. So that means that really 6 hours is the minimum you need to sleep. 6 hours, 7.5 or 9. 8 hours of sleep is a myth. And hopefully you can see that because it's 90-minute cycles, you can't get 8 hours effectively. It doesn't fit into the maths. So we need to be having multiples of 90 minutes. 4 is the minimum. Having an incomplete cycle will make you feel worse. So if you do get 8 hours sleep, that means that you'll be waking up when you're in deep sleep, which is why you feel groggy. And it's really hard to get going. When you wake up in light sleep, it's when you tend to feel a little bit more awake and a little bit more with it. When you hit snooze in the morning, effectively what you're doing is you are starting another sleep cycle. Now, if you have another hour and a half, that's great. If you've only got 10, 15, 20 minutes, it's the worst thing you can do because your body is then coming back down into a cycle, making it harder for you to get up. Once you're awake, you're awake. So if you have an hour and a half, by all means go for it, but most of us don't when we wake up. So hour and a half intervals, work that out as to how much you need. Now what you can do here is you can backtrack. So if you're struggling with your sleep, but you know that you have to be up at 6 a.m., backtrack every hour and a half. So you're then going to go 4:30, 3, 1:30, 12, 10:30, 9. So you either want to be going to bed at 9, 10:30 or 12. If you're not in bed asleep by 10:30, it can often be beneficial to stay awake until 12 so that you get those complete cycles. Remember, an incomplete cycle will make you feel worse. So you're paradoxically better off having 5 complete cycles than 5.5. So just again, bear that in mind as to when you're going to bed. We need to release a hormone or a neurotransmitter called melatonin. So without this one, we can't sleep. This is the signal to our brain to begin winding down and to start the healing and restoration process. Melatonin peaks when the sun goes down. So melatonin is very much influenced by light, particularly sunlight. This explains why when we go camping or we spend a lot of time outdoors, we get tired a lot quicker, a lot sooner in the evening because our melatonin has been released. Obviously, with our modern lifestyles, we tend to have very bright lights in our living room. TV screens, phones, devices are all very bright. And that light is tricking our brain to think it's still daytime, thereby inhibiting and stopping the release of melatonin. So the more time we have exposed to bright light, particularly blue light, but any kind of light really, the more we're stopping and preventing that release of this essential sleep hormone, melatonin. Again, bear this in mind for later on when we come through the tips and tricks. So we need to know that melatonin peaks with light. Light is a major influence in that. Biorhythms are natural fluctuations in our body's priorities throughout the day. So we have these natural highs and lows. Again, they're roughly hour and a half cycles where our bodies release different hormones, different chemicals, and have different levels of energy according to the time of day. With regards to sleep, the theory between about 10 and 2:30 is that our priority is on physical repair, is on healing our muscles, allowing our organs to regenerate and regrow and repair. And then between 2 and 6, 2:30 and 6, our priority switches to psychological, mental, and emotional repair. Now that's when our bodies are most primed and are optimally focusing on those things. So if we're going to bed at midnight, what tends to happen is that we miss that first 2 hours of physical repair. Things don't necessarily shift, we just miss that because at 6 a.m. our priorities become on something different. So nothing really shifts, it stays within those blocks. So if you are going to bed late, you're missing out on a good few hours of physical repair. Our sleep is most effective between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. That's when we're designed to sleep. That's when our bodies are optimally just ready for sleep. Now, some people can go, oh yeah, but I can't sleep until midnight. I'm a owl. I need to go to bed at 1. You don't. That's what you're conditioned to do. A human being sleeps best between 10 and 6. There's no getting away from that fact. You can be conditioned otherwise, but any human being, the sleep is most effective between 10 and 6. So, what disrupts our biorhythms and our melatonin release? What stops us from sleeping? Blue light. So, like I said, for any kind of bright light, particularly blue light from screens and devices, is probably the biggest thing. Caffeine, alcohol. Again, these all will inhibit release of melatonin and they'll keep us in that beta state. Caffeine especially is a substance that stays around in our systems for a long time. It's got something called a half-life of 6 hours. So what that means is that if you have a cup of coffee at 12 o'clock, you still have half the amount of caffeine in your system at 6 p.m. And at midnight, you still have half of that. So a quarter of the coffee you had at lunchtime is still in your system at midnight. So you want to be limiting the amount of caffeine you have, and definitely I'd say if you struggle to sleep, you need to be limiting your caffeine to before 2 p.m. Alcohol, again, really doesn't help sleep. You tend to pass out rather than sleep. There's a big difference. Again, alcohol really doesn't help you. It doesn't enhance your melatonin release or your biorhythms. In fact, it disrupts them. Stress, lots of that going on in your brain, is the obvious one. Physical clutter in the environment around you, again, keeps your brain in that active beta state. Open loops is stuff where you haven't made a decision. It's things that are just playing on your mind and you haven't closed them down yet. Kind of like having too many windows open up on your internet browser. And feeling safe and secure. This is a really big one for a lot of us. Our brains don't feel safe enough to be able to switch off. Whether this is financial safety, physical safety, emotional safety, it's when your brain feels calmer, more relaxed, more safe, secure, and certain, the more you can sleep. So, how can we improve? This is the important bits, right? This is what can we actually do about it? Well, we need to have more time outdoors, especially earlier in the day. And if we can expose more skin as well, that will have a knock-on effect. So the more vitamin D we can get into our bodies earlier in the day, the more we can begin to reset those biorhythms we briefly talked about earlier. So we need skin exposure, we need time outdoors as much as you can in the mornings. Again, this helps to reset your system. Magnesium is a really useful supplement to take, but bear in mind if you do go down the supplement route, it can take a week or 2 weeks to get enough in your system to make a difference, so it's by no means going to be instantaneous. A melatonin spray is something worth looking into. It's quite tricky to get hold of in the UK, but you can get it if you have a little look. Probably from some American sites is probably the best way of getting it. Increasing your carbohydrate in the evening, especially bananas, cherries, porridge, that releases a hormone called serotonin, which makes you feel safe and secure. Like we said before, not feeling safe is a big factor in not being able to sleep. So actually having a bit of a carbohydrate snack before you go to bed can be useful. Winding down, reading, meditation, stretching, yoga, taking a bath, all ways of helping your body to slow down, relax, and get into that delta brain frequency that we briefly spoke about earlier. Natural light, so getting away from, like I said, screens, bright lights, bright LEDs, especially phones, devices, TVs, and just having more of a natural light. So low level wattage in your living room, candles make a massive difference, and just kind of really getting back to nature and working more with the natural sunlight. A cool body temperature is really good. Again, your body is able to switch off more when you're cooler. So if you do struggle to sleep, then a cold shower or a cool bath at night is useful. Getting outdoors Again, exposing skin in the evening helps your body cool down. Or you could, if you don't fancy any of that, just wash your hands and feet in cold water. Again, it really helps just to draw blood away from your brain, allowing your brain just to slow down. And journaling and keeping a diary, writing stuff down. I don't remember before we spoke about something called open loops. That's where your brain is just trying to remember stuff. So actually just writing stuff down can allow your brain to then slow down and stop and rest for the night. Also, when it comes to hydration, make sure you drink most of your 2 litres early in the day. Obviously, you don't need, if you are drinking a lot in the evening, you're going to need to get up to pee. So drink as much of your water. Obviously, you know you need to have 2 litres of water every day. Drink as much of that early in the day as possible so that you're not having to get up at night to go for a pee. Setting yourself up for success. This is about your room. Blackout blinds and getting the room as dark as possible. Again, when you get street light, moonlight, your brain is kind of thinks it's more time to be awake. So the darker, the blacker your room can be, the better. It helps your brain release more of that essential melatonin. Your room needs to be tidy and free from clutter. Make sure your clothes are away, there's no clothes on the floor, things are packed away and tidy. If the last thing your brain sees before you close your eyes is mess and clutter, it's going to take that mess and clutter with it into your sleep. And again, your brain's going to be all wired up. It makes a massive difference, this one. It really, really does. Keep your bedroom exclusively for sleep and rest. Maybe one other thing if you're lucky. But again, certainly don't be using your bedroom for an office unless you really absolutely have to. Working in your bedroom, again, is a big no-no. You really need to make sure that room is exclusively for rest, recovery, and fun. So just getting your brain, remember your brain associates different things together. So if you've been working in your bedroom all day and you've been getting stressed and uptight, again, your brain is going to link those two together and keep you in that work mode throughout the night. Low level lighting is really important. So again, make sure, look at the wattage in your bulbs, have them as low as possible. If you have a dimmer in your bedroom, make sure again it's just enough. You may want to consider switching to a red light, and that makes a really good difference for your melatonin release. Having a cool temperature, windows open if possible. If not, make sure your room is as cool as you can get it. Look at the air quality, plants, maybe invest in a salt lamp. Again, most importantly, no devices, no phone, no tablet, no laptops, no TVs. Have your bedroom as device free as possible. Have as little electricity supply in there as you can. You may also want to consider switching off Wi-Fi at night as well. How can we drop off quicker? I'm really aware of time. I want to keep this video short. So if we're in bed, how can we drop off quicker? We need to be diaphragm breathing. Breathing right into your belly. That again brings your body into the parasympathetic nervous system, allowing you to rest and recover. So slowing your breathing down, 5 seconds or more to inhale, 5 seconds or more to exhale. Progressive relaxation basically means you contract muscles in a sequence. So you start with your feet, go to your calves, your hamstrings, your quads, and you work your way up to your body. Contract them as hard as possible, and then relax and let them go, and then move up to the next muscle. Develop some kind of calming bedtime routine, like we said before. Reading, bath or a shower, time outdoors, stretching, yoga, all really good ways of getting into a routine. Technology off, ideally at least an hour before you go to bed. Okay, if you really want to maximize melatonin release, that hour is crucial. Time outdoors, focus on relaxing. Again, it sounds so obvious, but a big mistake a lot of people make is they'll work, TV, and then want to be able to switch off instantly. It's never going to happen. You have to transition between being on and being off. It doesn't happen like a switch. It's more like an oven warming up. You need to set it where you want it to go, and then you just have to wait. So do give yourself time to go from being on to slowing down, relaxing, so you could be off. Binaural beats are a great little tool you can use. This is something which is easily available on YouTube. It's different musical pieces that feed different frequencies into each ear. If you have any kind of brain injury, epilepsy, or a history of stroke, they're not recommended. But it does allow your brain to transition from being on to being off, as does a guided meditation. Now, both of those two are available easily on YouTube. If you want some help and guidance about which ones to do, give me a shout. How do we stay asleep? Well, commonly people wake up between about 2:30 and 4. Again, there's going to be lots of reasons for this. Most often it's when your liver is running low on fuel. So your liver peaks in those times. So it can be that you're running low. And this is why we said earlier about having a carbohydrate snack, whether it's porridge or banana, something along those lines, can be enough to keep your liver going and doesn't need to wake you up. It can be your brain getting stressed. Again, just processing and going into that problem-solving state. This is why we said before about having an evening snack, brain dumping, keeping a journal, writing stuff down, and just expressing, whether you're writing, speaking it, singing it, drawing it, but just expressing how you feel, just so we can close those loops off. Finally, waking up. Now again, if you want to get a good night's sleep, it often starts with when you wake up in the morning. So don't hit the snooze button unless you have another 90 minutes. If you have another hour and a half, go for it. Give yourself time to come round. Very, very few of us wake up feeling raring to go. It takes time. It's a transition. Again, it's like your oven warming up. You're not expected to be motivated, mobile, and up for the day right from when you open your eyes. It's going to take time. So give yourself that process to go from sleeping. Your body's going to feel stiff. It hasn't moved for 8 hours. You're going to be dehydrated. You're not going to be motivated. Give yourself time for all of that to develop. Ideally, and again, this is going to upset a lot of people, avoid caffeine for an hour after waking. If you can delay your caffeine intake, your morning coffee, for an hour, your body will appreciate it. It's hard to do. Appreciate that. It is hard to do. But it is really, really beneficial. Not saying don't have it, just saying wait for an hour. Within that hour, hydrate yourself. So a pint of warm water, maybe with like a lemon or a lime, is a nice way of getting your gut to warm up gently, which then switches on your metabolism. Start your day with protein and fat for breakfast if you eat breakfast. Avoid sugary carbs at all costs. So no breakfast cereals, fruit juices, yogurt, pastries, toast. No, just no. It's the worst start to the day. It is the absolute worst start to the day. If you need to eat breakfast, say protein and fat, eggs, meat, salmon, veggies are the way to start. Nothing sugary. Say no toast, no yogurt, no juices, no cereals, pastries. It just triggers your body in the wrong way. And develop a positive and proactive morning routine. Whether you set your intentions for the day, plan your day, make your lunch, organize your bags, exercise. Exercise in the morning. Perfect time to do it. Avoid negativity. Again, if you want the worst start to the day possible, put the news on. Go straight to your email and social media. Your body and brain then are starting the day with stress. Everything then follows. So start your day positive. Music on that you love. Comedy, light-hearted things to get your brain in a good, optimistic upbeat state of mind rather than the negative, downbeat, stressed news and current affairs that a lot of people do. You don't need to know it that early in the morning. So it's the worst thing you can do. All right, so we're 25 minutes in. I know I've talked really quickly because I want to keep this relatively brief. I think 25 minutes isn't bad. Obviously, if this has triggered any questions, you guys all have my details. Talk to me, text me, email me. Rewatch different parts of the video. If things have piqued your interest, let me know what it is, and I'll do a slower, more in-depth version on that section. Hope that makes sense. Like I say, if you've got this far, well done. Next thing to do is to pick 2 or 3 things that you're going to do, that you have to make a change. I say it's all very well knowing this, but what are you actually going to do differently as a result of watching this? Remember, we know we need to have melatonin. You know you need to be in delta brainwaves, and your brain needs to be in that delta state. You know you need to be in a dark room, no stimulation, caffeine and alcohol out of your system. Your brain needs to be relaxed, safe, secure in order for you to get a good night's sleep. All right, I hope that's kind of been interesting for you guys. Like I say, any questions you have, don't hesitate to get in touch.